If you're looking to improve your aim, then make sure to check out Control Freak and use the code OGXRAYZ to get 10% off all the products. Link in the description below. Yo guys, what's up? It's XRAYZ. Welcome back to another Black Ops 4 video. So today I actually wanted to make a video talking about how you guys can get better at Black Ops 4, specifically how to get more kills, how to die less often. So let's go ahead and jump into these tips. I have a few of them here. I believe it's around 7 or 8 different tips. 9 if I break a couple of them down into a little further extra stuff. But these are going to be tips on how you guys can get better at Black Ops 4. Just stuff to get in your mind, to get you thinking about, so that as you're playing, you kind of have these on the back of your mind. So if you guys do go on and find this video informative and helpful, do me a huge favor and drop a like on the video. It's super appreciated, incredibly helpful. And if you're new to the channel, if you enjoy Black Ops 4 content and want to see even more like this, then obviously make sure you guys do go on to subscribe, hit that subscription button, join Team Rayz, and slap those notifications on so you're one of the first ones to see these videos. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first thing, before we even jump into any kind of match, you want to get a few things done. Obviously, you want to make a class that you're used to. If you're going for challenges, it doesn't really matter, but if you're looking to consistently do well, if you're not really doing challenges for camos or etc., then it really doesn't matter. But if you do care, then I would say pick a class that is accustomed to your playstyle. So if you're not that great with ARs, but you're awesome with SMGs, use SMGs. You're going to do a lot better in matches. If you're going for challenges, then it won't really matter because you're probably not going to be doing that well. But chances are, if you're watching this video, you're not going for challenges, you're just trying to get better at Black Ops 4. So make sure you work with your class setup. If you have a favorite weapon, use that weapon. If you have a specific attachment that you feel you like having on it, then use it. Play around with it. It's honestly the best I can tell you with that is just putting time into a specific category of weapons, and you'll find yourself doing really well with that category. So once you have that down, the next thing is you want to pick a specialist that you're good with, or a specialist that you're familiar with more than anything. For me personally, I am a huge fan of torque. I really like using the razor wire, and I like having the barricade. I don't even use them necessarily to try to get kills, like even like putting down the barricade at random places just to have my own little head glitch. I like using them in spots that will distract enemies, and that's why I like using torque. I like using torque because it takes away focus from the enemy player. There's going to be a bunch of times where I put down a razor wire, people bump into it, and I'm alerted immediately that there is someone there. And if they're not bumping into it, they're going to start shooting it because they're trying to get past it, and I'll be able to hear them as well. So either one of those situations, you run into that room where they're messing around with that razor wire, and that's pretty much an easy kill because they're distracted, and you'll have to beat on them, which is amazing. And you can do jump shots or whatever to try to get that advantage. So those are the two things I'm telling you guys. With your specialist, make sure you pick one you're familiar with. If you have one that you have no idea what you're doing with or what situation you should be using them in, then it's going to be kind of a waste. And it really does help out, believe me, a ton when you know what you're doing with your specialist and what you should be doing with it. So play around with different ones, find the one that you like the most, make it your main. Alright, so the next tip I can give you guys is peeking. Now this is something that you used to be able to do in other Call of Duties where it would kind of lean over and peek over the corners. They took this away, and I believe Treyarch never wants to do this, so there's still a way to do that. All you really have to do is kind of quickly like strafe back and forth while you're going around corners. It'll let you know if there's someone there. You always want to do this if you're going through a very hot area, if you're running past B, if you're running past a flag, if you're running past an area where most likely people are going to be running through there to get to a different part of the map. Always peek. There's a bunch of times in this gameplay that you guys are seeing where I forget to peek, and if I peeked, then I would have seen that there was someone right there. So just make sure to peek, look around corners. It's like literally takes a second. You don't know how many times you'll peek around the corner and realize there's a sniper waiting for you, and you'll be able to back off and go somewhere else and be like, screw you, I'm not going to run through there. Or you'll peek around a corner and you'll spot someone who's maybe distracted. You can pick up an easy kill. So peeking, practice this. If you want to do it in custom matches, you just kind of do it real quick, strafing back and forth around areas that you know people might be hiding or might be just kind of distracted looking somewhere else, or just want to see if there's more than one person in that given room. Believe me, if you spot that there's 3 people in there, chances are you're not going to want to go in that room anymore. So peeking, try it. It's easy. It might slow down the gameplay a bit, but believe me, in the long run, you're going to be getting more score streaks, which ends up getting you more kills. So just do some peeking around corners and stuff. Believe me, you're going to see just how useful this is. All right, so the next one is to always assume that there is a second person coming. This is something that I still have to fight myself at, and I always still have to practice, because I always end up, like, I'll shoot someone, I'll kill them, and I'll immediately try to reload or heal up, The most important thing for you to do at that moment is once you kill someone, always assume there's a little friend hiding behind or somewhere nearby. So the first thing you should do is heal up. Don't try to reload. Don't try to start running in that room or try to run away towards like the left or right. Always assume there is a second person. So anytime now, whenever I go into a gunfight, I'll kill the first person, I'll heal myself up real quick, I won't bother reloading, and I'll wait to see if someone is going to pop out from behind, because there's always someone who does that. So if you're in an area that's very heavy traffic, kill someone, back off a little bit, make sure you're healed up, get ready for the next person. If there's no one there, then you are a little bit more safe to do it. But always assume there's a second person. There's so many times where I have died because I'm reloading because I didn't expect a second person. So always take that extra second, heal up, wait to see if anyone's coming, and then if there's no one around, then you should reload and get ready for the next engagement. But don't just lose focus after the first one. There's a lot of times where you'll go into a gunfight, you'll be super focused, boom, you kill them, and then you just kind of zone out after that. You're just kind of thinking about, well, what should I do now? Or where am I going to go next? You should always keep your focus a little bit extra after you kill someone again, because there might be a second person. Once you do that, you're able to kind of collect yourself back together and think about what you want to do next. But always, always, always make sure that you assume a second person is there. All right, so the next thing is to run with a teammate. If you're playing with a party, that's awesome. That's great. You can always run in groups of 2. Believe me, if it's 2 against 1, it's going to be that guy's disadvantage. And if it's just you running against 3, it's going to suck. So you always want to run with a teammate. Now, there obviously is this instinct that we have if we're playing by ourselves of wanting to be a one-man army. We're running off in our own direction. We're trying to pick off people as best we can without the other team being there. Usually that's what I would do in previous Call of Duties, because I know that there's going to be a lot more enemies in the direction that I'm not going. Like, if I'm not following my teammates, chances are there's going to be a lot more people there for me to take on. But with this Call of Duty, it's very different. The time to kill is very different. So if you are running by yourself, yeah, you might get 1 kill. We're probably going to get shredded by that second or third person. So you want to be really smart about this. If you're playing with friends, awesome. Run in groups of 2 at least. And if you're playing by yourself, run with like another person. Even if they're just kind of camping in a room. If chances are that if you spot someone, you start shooting, that person's going to come up and try to help you out as well, to try to see and engage in that action as well. So chances are, you go in there, you start getting into some action, you start taking some fire, you're like, crap, I need to back off. Your teammate is going to be there to kind of provide cover fire for you and try to finish that kill off. And the good thing about Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is that if you get some damage on someone, you don't have to be the last one to get damage on them. You still get credit towards a kill if you put in some damage into someone. So that's a really good reason why you should always run with someone, because you put in some damage on someone, crap, you need to back off, you took some damage, your teammate's going to show up, finish off that kill, and you're still going to get credit towards that kill because of what you did. So always run with someone, even if they're just kind of nearby, do that. You don't want to be off by yourself, because you're going to get overwhelmed by more players. Sure, you might get more kills and that you're getting more chances to kill someone by yourself, but at the end of the day, if there's like 3 or 4 people there, they're going to eventually overwhelm you and you're going to lose your streak. So just keep that in mind. All right, so the next one is to find your play style. This is one that I think a lot of us takes a long time to deal with, but if you've played Call of Duty for a while, then you know what kind of player you are. For instance, I am not a rusher. There's no way in hell that I could ever grab an SMG, rush, and just destroy. In fact, the only Call of Duty that I was able to do that in was Black Ops 2, because it was a very rush heavy game. And there was a few games that I had in there that were amazing, but since Black Ops 2, I've come to understand that I'm more of a medium range player who likes to be a little bit more campy, head glitchy. I like to be passive. I don't like to rush in anymore. Unless I'm doing challenges, that's completely different, and my playstyle changes drastically. But if I'm trying to get wins, or if I'm trying to get more kills, or if I'm trying to do better, then I'll always try to make sure I'm in power positions, or that I'm playing a little slower, I'm using my lines of sight. And that is my playstyle. This is not necessarily the playstyle that works for you. If you're more of a heavy rushing player, then play that way. Try to figure out what kind of player you are. So just what I would recommend is go into a match specifically practicing like long range kills only, maybe doing another match where you're just medium ranges, and then do a different match where all you're doing is short range rush kills. And eventually you'll find out like which one you're more comfortable with and which one you're doing better with. So that's what I would do. I would always run around rushing to see if I was able to do it. And if I wasn't able to, and this can also be dependent on your map. So if you're on a small map, you might want to rush. If you're on a bigger map, maybe you want to be a little more passive. but I always try to figure out my play style as one of the first things that I want to do with every new Call of Duty, and honestly with every new map as well. Like I was saying, there might be some maps that are very small that you might want to rush more, and other maps that are ginormous that maybe you want to kick back a little bit and wait for people to come to you. So find your play style, do a lot of matches, focus specifically on each match on a certain range and certain play style, and then figure out over the, you know, group of number of games what play style you felt more comfortable with and you felt like you had better results, and then kind of continue on with that way. So that's the next tip. All right, so the next one is sensitivity. This is one that I always get asked for some reason. What sensitivity do I play on? I play on 6 sensitivity, and that's mostly because I kind of practiced around with it. I am never going to be someone who's like at maximum sensitivity or even like a high sensitivity. I've tried it in the past, but I like being more accurate, and because of my playstyle, which is a little more passive, a little more longer engagements, if I have higher sensitivity, it kind of throws off my aim. So personally, for me, I like having a sensitivity that is in like that medium range, 6 sensitivity. If you are someone who's rushing, you might want to do longer or higher sensitivity because you're going to be spinning around trying to get kills as quick as you can. And if you're super long range, if you're sniping, you might want a little bit of a slower or you know, much lower sensitivity. But if you kind of want to be more advanced or, you know, all around, stick to like a medium one. I'd say 6, 7, 8, practice with those. And if you want to go higher than that, you can. Personally, I've already tried it, but for me, I found myself that like a 6, 7 sensitivity is the best sensitivity for me, where I'm still very accurate, but also I'm able to turn around very quickly if I'm getting like shot from behind. So that's the tip I can give you. This is actually pretty important as well because of the time to kill. You're actually able to turn around and get into a bunch of these engagements. So maybe don't go super slow unless you're sniping, but if you want to go a little bit faster up top and get used to it, then I would recommend that as well. So yeah, there you go. That's your sensitivity. The next one is a little bit more about your specialist. And this one is to make sure you're using your equipment and your specialist ability and you're using them the right way. The way I use them is I always, like I was saying, try to distract them. And there's a lot of people that I see that have specialists that they never use their like specialist gear and equipment. And you really should. I mean, if all you have is a sensor dart, throw that guy in there into like a very heavy populated area. Give yourself an advantage on knowledge. If you're using torque like me, put down your razor wire in locations where you know people are going to be running into them, or it's going to be a nuisance for them to try to shoot them down and kind of distract them a little bit. You know, depending on whatever specialist is your favorite or your main specialist, just get used to them. Remember to use those specialist equipment. Guys are way more useful than you think that they are. Believe me, they're way more useful than you think they are. And oftentimes they get you free kills as well. So just make sure you're putting them down as soon as you get them. Find yourself in a situation where you can use them, place them down, or use them. And believe me, you're going to be doing a lot better, whether it gives you more information on the game, or it slows down an enemy, or just straight up gives you a kill. Make sure you're using those specialist abilities and equipment. All right, so the final one is to find your game mode. And this one can change depending on the day. Sometimes I am playing and I'm doing terrible, absolutely terrible at Team Deathmatch, and I'll swap over to Domination. Usually I have a couple or 3 different game modes that I know that I'm good at. So usually what I would say to you is play every single type of game mode. You'll find some of them you absolutely hate. Other ones you're going to find you're like, man, this is actually kind of fun. So find those specific game modes that you find yourself doing well in, and then try to circulate through them. So if you're, you know, having a terrible day one day on like hardcore, on hardpoint, and swap over to Team Deathmatch if you're good at it. If you're having trouble with that one, swap over to Domination. Find yourself a group of modes that you're good at, and then once you have that, you know, depending on what day or depending on how you're feeling that day, you'll be able to swap out. So for instance, sometimes, like I was saying, I'll do terrible at Domination and I'll find myself doing very well in Team Deathmatch, and I'll swap over to that and I'll do that for a while, and then, you know, maybe the next day for some reason I'm just doing horrible in TDM, and I'll swap over to Domination or like Hardpoint or whatever. So find some modes that you find yourself doing well at, and then if you're having a bad day, swap over to the next one that you're good at. Believe me, if you try to force it, if you're playing Domination, you're having a really bad day, and you just keep trying to force it and going in there because it's one of the modes you're good at, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to not want to grind anymore. So find yourself a group of modes that you like playing, and then try to swap through them. If you're having a bad day, swap over to the next one until you find one that you're having an easier time with. But believe me, sometimes you're having a great day, other times you're having a terrible day. It depends also on the pool of players who are playing, so always keep that in mind as well. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this. Hopefully these tips were helpful and informative. If you guys did go on to enjoy the video, do me a huge favor and drop a like and a favorite on the video, guys. It's super appreciated, incredibly helpful. And if you're new to the channel, if you want to stay up to date with all the latest and greatest Call of Duty Black Ops 4 news, info, rumors, leaks, tips, tricks, and more, then make sure you guys subscribe, join Team Rayz, and have those notifications on by clicking that bell icon next to the subscription button. If you guys do want to support the channel directly, you guys can do so by checking out my channel memberships. You get access to early content, exclusive videos, and special badges that show up in all my live streams and in the comment sections of all my videos, so check that out only if you are willing and able to. And then last but not least, if you guys want to talk about anything, Twitter is the best place to do so. I'm constantly talking over there, so if you want to see what I'm up to or just want to talk, give me a follow over there at OGXRAYZ. I'll have a link down in the description below, along with links to my gaming and second channel. You guys have an awesome day. Take care. I'm out. Peace.